Welcome to Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. I'm Steve Swatt with the Sacramento Report. In the next few minutes, we're going to talk about efforts at the Capitol to further protect California schools from earthquakes. My guest this segment is Bill Dodd, a member of the State Assembly from Napa. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me here, Steve.
So, you know, when we talk about earthquakes, we usually talk about Southern California, of course, and the San Francisco Bay Area and the East Bay, where there are all sorts of earthquake faults. But you have earthquakes in Napa also, and you had one in 2014, and you learned a few lessons from that, didn't you?
We learned a lot of lessons. I was a county supervisor at the time, and you know, this fault has been there for a long time, but not very active. And so about 3:30 in the morning, we learned a lot. Our county buildings, our school buildings in particular, structurally did fine, but it really was the interior contents that became quite a big problem, particularly for our schools.
That's interesting because California, of course, has the Landmark Field Act, which was 1935 after Long Beach earthquake in 33, and that basically holds the new schools when they're built to design standards and structural standards, but it doesn't address the contents, right?
It doesn't. Our schools are structurally as safe as any school probably in the world with that Field Act. But in terms of, you know, where bookcases can go and file cabinets and how lights are installed, TVs are installed, there are guidelines, but there's no requirements to make sure that in the event of an earthquake or any natural disaster for that matter, these things are tied down or actually not even put in the place where it could collapse over a doorway. In the case of this Napa Unified School District, they told me they had to break in or just like pry their way into about 6 or 7 classrooms. I'm convinced that if this had happened during the day, there most certainly would have been major damage, if not deaths.
Not to the structure, but inside the structure.
Exactly.
So you have legislation that would put some muscle, I guess, and some money behind these guidelines.
Behind these guidelines, making these guidelines a part of the statute to make sure that they get followed. And what we wanted to do so this didn't become, you know, a brutally expensive deal for all our school districts all over the place. Right. I really believe that the school superintendents and their boards of trustees have the safety of their kids and their teachers first and foremost in their minds. So it gives them the opportunity to work with local responders on their inspections and inspecting these classrooms and doing what's right, using best practices on how to hang things, strap things to the wall to make sure that they're done.
But there is a money component there, and some of the districts obviously are strapped for cash.
That's right. You know, just to give you an example, in Napa County, they went through after the fact. There was $9 million in internal damage throughout their school system. They went through after the fact, after everything was cleaned up, they went through and really implemented what this bill asked for. It cost them $600,000. So there will be a cost, there's no doubt about it. But look at this earthquake here in California. We're going to continue to get them. We want to make sure that our kids and our teachers are safe in those classrooms. And so I really haven't gotten any opposition.
No pushback yet.
No pushback. I mean, early pushback because there was some areas of the state, you know, that have never had any history of earthquakes, and that makes sense. Yeah, we want to cooperate. So. With the school districts.
All right. Well, we're out of time for this segment, but It's a fascinating issue.
Yeah.
We're going to certainly watch its progress through the legislative arena. Bill Dodd of Napa, thanks for coming by and talking about it.
Thank you, Steve.
And thanks to our viewers for watching Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. A reminder, you can see this and other interviews on YouTube, My Government on Demand, and the California Channel. I'm Steve Swatt. Have a great day.